At the end of this debate, you're going to vote AF because the 1% risk of the AF means that they have no game offense. You should reject their policymaker framing. It's new in the 2 and R. Instead, you should defer to an offense-defense paradigm, meaning at the end of this round, if there's a 1% risk, you vote AF because IADWS systems in India puts the Middle East in a deterrence crisis. Right now, the balance is only struck by both sides acting rationally and understanding the other's capabilities under mutually assured destruction and mutually assured vulnerability. But the IADWS system allows India the potential to wipe Pakistan's nuclear facilities off the map with no retribution, and recent land grabs, proxy agent, and skirmishes indicate that the scenario is escalating and Modi is acting aggressively and has taken authoritarian action against his own people and knows that with the new system, India could be untouchable by Pakistani offense, which creates several scenarios for miscalculation where either country misperceives the other's intent and launches a preemptive attack or launches a strike to take over. Any conflict over Kashmir or border skirmish between the countries could lead to a full-scale nuclear war as conventional fighting escalates, and even if it doesn't, a war between the two countries would still kill millions and launch nuclear fallout and a new ice age that would destroy all forms of complex life from poisoning the biosphere and causing and I'll explain why their indicts of BMD don't link to the AF. All the BMD that they say should cause an escalation now is long range or medium BMD that includes THAAD, the Patriot system, Russian S-400s, and the Akash system. India already has those and they protect against longer range missile strikes on India. The only thing that they don't have is protection against low flying, quickly moving jets that Pakistan will use to drop nuclear bombs. The NASAMS system operates in that range under 25 kilometers, so sending the defense system to India makes sure that Pakistan can't deliver any nuclear payload onto Pakistani soil. India has waited to counterforce until they got the weapons for a reason. Now that they can fill that hole in the defense shield, there's no way a Pakistani retaliation would be able to successfully hit India. Now that India is willing and ready to counterforce, and they say the Akash system having a 25-kilometer range means it's the same, but the 1AC Roblin indicates that IDWS and then specifically the Sentinel radar system that is a part of it are necessary for the detection and shooting down of Pakistani Mirage of F-35 fighters. The Azrar evidence also says the Akash system is still being developed, meaning it doesn't hold the same immediate effects of IDWS and isn't as uniquely stabilizing due to lacking the Sentinel radar system and also the medium low altitude capabilities. Next, they say that there's no incentive to escalate for Pakistan and that all of our evidence is about escalation and first strike scenarios, but this is just blatantly not true. The main evidence is specific about Indian aggression and overconfidence acting for them to have a tripwire conflict that then Pakistan would be forced to respond to in a use it or lose it scenario. We also have isolated specifically land grabs, Modi aggression, and recent authoritarian actions that all act as tripwires for a conflict. They say that both sides use conventional forces. That's our argument. 1AC Guruswamy and their evidence on this both agree that so long as mutually assured destruction continues, all conflicts that arise and the SWO will be dependent on conventional forces only, which don't escalate to the same scale as a counterforcing threat. They have no answer to miscalculation here, meaning that we access that any chance of a risk means there's no offense from them. Next, they say that India can't counterforce, but this argument is unsubstantiated, and even the 1NR evidence indicates that Pakistan is super weak and weaker than India. Also, the 1AC Lawani evidence specifically indicates that India will be able and have the capabilities to counterforce once IDWS fills the hole, meaning that practically no actual game on this means that you vote AF on the T. They dropped that there's no precedent to voting on this argument. There are no more arms sales debate after this one. That means that there's absolutely no reason to vote neg because the ballot doesn't cause any change within the debate community. And potential abuse is not a voting issue, and they have yet to isolate an instance of R being abusive. They read evidence that was specific to the IDWS and the 1NC. They just didn't do a good job extending it. That alone should be a reason for you to reject the argument, but we'll prove that their model is bad too. First, weapon spec is a bad argument. A few key arguments that they never really answered in the block take it out. First, almost every AF reduces some specific weapon type. Saudi Arabia reduces PGMs. Taiwan reduces offensive weapons. Ukraine reduces lethal weapons. Japan reduces F-35s or BMD. Poland reduces BMD. Probably a majority of the AFs that you hear don't meet their interpretation. If you think that any of these AFs are good for a debate, then you vote AF because their vision of the topic completely excludes them. You shouldn't vote against us because their evidence is out of context and speaks too broadly and doesn't actually mention BMD. Instead, mentions an array of other factors. Second, picks beat them. Teams can always find one weapon system that we sell to a country that could be good and can generate some form of contrived net benefit because they have infinite prep before the round to search that one specific weapon. And they tried to answer this by saying that the Saudi offensive capabilities doesn't lose to a pick, but that AF literally doesn't meet their interpretation. They can't explain a clear reason why isolating specific systems is bad other than the fact that they didn't research our AF well enough. They haven't impacted out a single reason why their model of debate is better either, which means that you vote AF because they haven't given you a reason to prefer their model of debate while we still have massive disadds to their model. 60 seconds. Vote AF.
Good debate, y'all.
All right,
Good
good debate,
debate.
y'all.
Debate.
I don't know, clap.